Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nancy Wangome, and today I'm speaking about rising. The journey to self-realization is colored with spectacular falls, and all have fallen short of God's glory. We are all born blissful, joyous, confident, curious, open to learning, talented with extraordinary capacities. And yet I agree with Ken Robinson's contention that all kids are born with extraordinary talent and that the man-made system squanders it pretty ruthlessly. However, we must admit that the potentials we were born with are not only for good, but also for pure evil. So yes, by design, all have fallen short of God's glory. And those who are yet to will inevitably be pushed to the fall. The fall comes in many forms. Betrayal is one of them, specifically self-betrayal. Some people have been betrayed, experienced an injustice that threatened to destroy their very core. Others have trusted a demon disguised as an angel. While still others are the perpetrators of evil. None is better than the other. The perpetrator and the victim of evil are both in darkness. There is nothing unique about falling. It is the most common of occurrences, the most human of all characteristics. What is rare, what is exceptional, what is a road less traveled, what is honorable and divine is to rise, to face the darkness that we fall into unafraid, the reclaiming of our immortality, our very likeness to God. The African story is no different to the personal journeys that we must all take. The fall of Africa began in the 1800s. Religion, slave trade and colonization are, in my view, Africa's fall. Yes, the Britons invaded our land, or the whites invaded our land, Africa. But was it not us Africans who naively welcomed the missionaries? Yes, the whites may have conceived the idea of buying and selling Africans as slaves. But was it not our brothers and sisters, black people, who sold their brothers and sisters to slavery? Yes. We need to remember that many Africans became collaborators with the colonizer. We have to admit that we were divided long before the Muzungus came, and that they only served to reveal and deepen the division. We as Africans must not seek for retribution or compensation from those who carried out the atrocities. There can be no compensation for rape, neither can there be compensation for colonization. No, we must rise above these injustices and atrocities all by ourselves, by the power within us that remains dormant. Instead, I suggest that we forgive. No, we must not forget, but we forgive and focus our energies on never again being vulnerable, gullible, or susceptible to the satiety of any enemy. Africans have listened to outsiders for far too long. We are being led by people whose economy was built on our backs, is still being built on our backs, our tears, our blood, and our very lives. The world has always been indebted to Africans, and yet they have us doubting ourselves. The antidote to self-doubt is absolute self-knowledge, self-confidence, self-sovereignty, self-love, to know oneself and to be true to self. Religion, slave trade, and colonization were used as instruments to cause black people to doubt themselves and continue to be used. It is time that we realized who we are, because this is deception at its best. I mean, would you rather have great skin or expensive makeup? A healthy body or beautiful clothes? Development or a nation to develop? Wake up, African men and women, for our work is cut out to reclaim what is ours. No, we cannot, this process cannot be led by our leaders. No, because many of them are misled on the matter. It must be us, the people, who rise first as individuals and then as the United Nation of Africa. Many have fallen on this cause. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Dedan Kimathi Washuri, and the list goes on. And their contribution must not be forgotten. No. Yet we as Africans must not cry foul at this very moment. No, the march is still on. We have an opportunity to connect with our roots and take our rightful position. So I call out on all talents, designers, herbalists, visionaries, dreamers, singers, songwriters, because we all have a role to play in this process of us rising to our rightful position as world leaders. I recently heard of an interesting story from a Mau Mau fighter, a woman at that. And she told me of how in the Agikuyu community, they treated malaria long before mosquito nets were invented. And she told me three things, three herbs: mahuti ma jogo cia Gikuyu, matathi, na mou. These three herbs would be put in a big sufuria and brought to a boil, and the patient would be held over the hot sufuria under a blanket to sniff the bitter steam coming from the herbs and sweat out all the toxins. They would also drink the bitter waters and bathe in it. And I kid you not, the next day the lad would be as good as new. Our ways have always been superior. So I urge you, African brothers and sisters, wherever you are in the world, breathe. As Mother Earth breathes, breathe. And connect with your essence, which is spirit, and let it lead you, because you are God's sons and daughters of the Most High God. And in the words of Maya Angelou, they may have written us in history with their bitter, twisted lines. They may have trodden us in the very dirt. But just like dust, we rise. Africa rise. You are the spirit of this world.